What's up, guys? This is Matt at U-Wrench Auto. This is going to be my WMI install for the Audi A8 D4 with the 3.0 T for supercharged engine. I'm going to be doing a snow stage 3. Looks like in this box, along with a couple of extra goodies I had to purchase because I am doing a 1000cc dual injection. This kit only comes with a single port injection. So in order for you to be able to accomplish that, you need an extra solenoid, you need an extra check valve. You also need to get a T fitting for my compression hose, and in addition to another jet 90-degree angle here. And one last thing, this doesn't apply to everybody. However, I'm going to be putting one of my nozzle injection points on one of these, silicone or rubber. So you're going to need this piece as well to be able to mate it perfectly on there, so that way you don't have any leaks. And I'll show you guys how to do that. Just wanted to show you guys what the kit is included with. In case you weren't to plan on doing the same exact thing, I will put the part numbers in the description as well for you guys, so that way if you guys want to follow on this exact build, you have everything you need to do that. So again, I am doing a 1000cc. I'm going to be doing a dual port injection, one pre and one post throttle body. I'll show you guys exactly the exact location of where I'm doing that and as to the reasons as to why I'm doing that. A lot of people know already that I'm going to be running nitrous, 150 probably to start in terms of a wet shot. And a lot of people ask, why do you do WMI in addition to? So I really am utilizing WMI for two reasons. One, the cooling effect for my AITs. Secondly, if you use WMI in conjunction with nitrous, it also helps with the peak combustion temperature. So I can squeeze a little bit more of a, decelerate or lowering the cylinder temps allows me to be able to advance my timing just a smidge more than I would be able to if I wasn't using DMI with the nitrous. So it's just an added tool that I can utilize for both my AITs and in the combustion temp itself in the cylinder. So it's really a double whammy there. Also, I just want to let you guys know, when you go to set these things inside, when I'm just going to put this now so I don't forget it. Use E6000 sealant. Don't use Teflon tape. That methanol will ruin the Teflon, just eat away at it. So just make sure you guys are using E6000. All right, so I'm going to take you guys through what I've already done, because I have done a little bit. And then from that point, I'm going to be able to give you guys the rest of the build for this WMI. The things that I've already done are kind of variable depending on what the application you're putting it on. Like the S4s have a lot of space over here, whereas I don't. So it's going to be a little bit variable as to choose where you want to put the pump at. But everything else should be pretty similar. So that's the part that we're going to get down and show you guys how I'm choosing to do that. All right, let's get to it. What's up, guys? All right, so this is what I've done so far. I did pull the car in and out several times, so I apologize that I have skipped a couple of things in terms of showing you guys how to do it. But it's pretty easy anyway, so I'll just run through what I've already done, and then we'll get right into the remainder of the WMI install. So let's go look at it. Got a couple of things here. Made a bracket right there, if you guys can see. It's where the reinsert tray or basket was. So I removed that, put this bracket up, riveted it together. Here's the WMI pump, obviously. I've got, let me see if I can move that around, here we go. My power and ground to my pump, I'm going to be installing with my progressive with the actual controller itself. Here's my feed line going to the pump, and here is my relay switch. It's the whole board itself. I just bought this thing. This thing was like 150 bucks. Instead of me wasting my time and ordering everything and then building one myself, this just looks nice. It also comes with like a screen that I'm going to push through the firewall. It's just going to be a lot nicer. So I can just press these on and everything's ready and armed for me. So also I have ran my bottle line. I am not using the tank that came with the kit. I'm using my washer solvent bottle, and I'm doing that so that way it just prevents me from having to add anything else in terms of the switch, the level switch. I'm just going to run it right off of the bottle, so that way when my low washer fluid gets low, I know that I need to put more WMI in there, or more methane water. So let's look at this. I don't know, guys, you can see, but I ran the feed line from there, strapped it down, and I just installed where the bottle is right there. And it's super easy. Now the instructions will tell you that the pump is supposed to be level or a little bit higher, a little bit lower than where it's actually pulling from. However, obviously I didn't do it that way. I didn't really see a good way of me doing it, since how I don't have a lot of cowl space. So this was kind of my idea on how to do it. What I'm going to be doing bare minimum is cutting this and putting a filter, inline, what's that thing called? Oh, check valve. There we go. Inline check valve, at least right here. And what that's going to do is prevent me from getting air inside the system, because I definitely don't want that to happen. However, if the pump isn't adequate enough for pulling, I've already purchased a 1 to 3 psi pump. It's usually used for like transferring gas from one tank to the next. I bought that, and I'll just wire it in right here and to feed 2 or 3 psi to the actual main pump that sits up there. So I have an alternative plan if this doesn't work out, but I know a couple of guys that have run this play, and it works fine. So that's what I'm going to be running with. So that's currently what I've done, along with the wiring. I'll show you guys the controller. Now this is probably not going to be permanent location, but for now it's going to work. So the controller is there, and I've also installed the wiring through the firewall. There is a rubber gas or a rubber plug. I'll show you on the other side where it goes through. All I did was I used a hanger, poke through, and then ran it through there, as you can see right here. So I just taped it up, poked the hole, and then ran it through. So now I have all my wiring. So next, what we're going to do, I have to do 2 things. One, I'm going to have to build the system, use all these parts, and then I also want to do my wiring as well. So I'll probably start with building this stuff, show you guys how to do that, and then we'll run back into the wiring when we're all said and done. All right. All right, guys, now that I've showed you what I've already have done so far, I have my pump and then I have my wiring. We're going to concentrate on doing the wiring last. This is like really the easy stuff, so I want to get the routing done first for everything. We'll go through that. So what I want to do, I want to try to hide as much as possible. So what I'm thinking about doing is setting up my solenoid here and then having it angle out so I can put my jet, my split jet, or I'm sorry, my splitter right here. So that way, when I go to put the cowl back on, you can't really see anything. And I'm gonna run my hose down here and then run one of my other hoses down this way. So let's see what that looks like on paper. I mean, now that I have like a good visual of where I want it, I can start doing that. I'm gonna utilize this bracket, and we'll see what we get from that and see how I can make this thing work. All right, guys, so here's my bracket. I'm wanting to put my pieces for my solenoid here. I'll show you guys what that looks like. So essentially I want this piece to go like right here where this notch is. Super easy. I mean, it's kind of convenient there, right? So I'm gonna affix this on here. I'm gonna use this bracket, put this bracket on here somehow, and then we'll see how it fits. All right, guys, now that I have this mounted correctly, what I want to do is make sure that you have your out and your in. It's labeled, right? So when this is going to be sitting in, I want the out portion going towards the engine, right? Because that's where I want my T. So that's what I'm just going to install real quick. Now this is just going to be a mock-up. So what I'm doing with you guys is I'm going to show you how I'm physically doing it, but I'm actually not tightening everything up and then using my E6000 sealant on the threads. So this is just my mock-up, and then once the video is completely done, I'll literally just go right behind everything and just throw the sealant on. But for informational purposes only, I would be throwing E-sealant on right now, but I'm not doing that currently. All right, everybody, have this on. She's nice and tight for the most part. Let's just keep spinning it, there we go. All right, so now that's on. These wires, one's positive, one's ground. Doesn't really matter which one, they both will activate the solenoid. So what I'm gonna do is just keep this over here because this is gonna get grounded on this one side. Now let me pull this down a little bit more for you guys so you can see it. Awesome. All right, so I'm just gonna move this over on this side, no big deal. And then on this one, I'm gonna run my power wire, because remember on this side, this is where my actual controller, the wiring for the controller going through the firewall is. So I'm gonna use these. I'm not gonna show you how I did it, I'll just explain it. So these are actually little clamps. Here's a part number 55173 for Doorman. They're like little radiator clamps, if you will. Show you guys what it looks like untouched. You know, it has like the ears that you just, you know, clip. So what I did was, all I did was cut this piece right off to get rid of the ears to create it open. See the difference? Cool. So I did that just to keep these things holding this wire down so the wire's not going all over the place. I really hate things looking like a mess. So it's just one extra way of making sure that I don't have wires hanging all over the place. Just clip them on here. I'll probably do one here and one right here, and then have this folded so I can solder it together when I'm ready. All right, now that I have my wiring done for my solenoid, my bracket, let's give it a quick test fit, and then we'll mock up, see what's going on after that. All right, guys, here's my bracket. Put the solenoid on. See what we get from this. So the bracket goes on. Now this is obviously just a test fit. I'm not physically bolting this thing in, but just to give you guys some sort of mock up of how I'm doing it. All right, so she'll sit down just like that. I don't know if you guys can see, but I've got the nozzle right here. Cool. All right, so obviously, again, this is not permanent. I'm not doing this right now. This is just a mock-up, so everything will be hit with sealant and then bolted in. So that's how that's gonna look. All right, so now I've got my two lines that go here in here, and then I'm gonna tap into here and tap into here. Let me show you guys what I mean. So I've got a line that's gonna go from here to the back of here, and the same thing from here to the back of here. So I'm gonna mark where I want them, and then we're gonna cut or put the holes in. Right there. Let's do it right there. All right. So I'm gonna start taking things off, and then we'll get busy. All right, guys. I did put this installed. I tried doing it, and then my camera died. So I just want to show you guys. I used a step bit, and I use it for the 1-inch hole here. And then after you're done using the step bit itself, it's kind of like all broken into pieces because there's like steel wire in there. So I just took a knife, and then I just chopped, a couple of pieces up at a time until I created the hole, stuck it in, and then just tighten it on there. All right, I will be using sealant, the E6000, but I'm not doing that at the moment. I'm just gonna install my 600cc nozzle. That's exactly how I want it. I want it facing that way. So when it sits, it's gonna go up towards the cabin. All right, so we put this thing down. This one's all set. Now I'm gonna focus on doing this one. So the instructions tell you to use a drill bit of 11/32, and then tap the aluminum. And that's gonna be a 1/8 T27, all right? So I'm gonna start off small, work myself up a little bit, and then use the right size drill bit. So she's in. I'm obviously gonna put sealant on it, but that's kind of how you want it to look. All right, now I will put this all back together, put the lines in, and then we'll start with the wiring itself. All right, guys, we're gonna put this in now. I have the jet sitting perfectly there. So we're gonna put this in, we're gonna run our compression lines, and then see how it looks. All right, so now that we have our adapter, we're gonna put a compression line here to there. In addition to doing that, I also wanna make sure I put my inline check valve in there. So we're gonna add that as well. All right, guys, got the throttle body back on. Have my my 400 nozzle installed all wired and plumbed in. Now all we're gonna do now is put this on and then finish up the piping for that. And then I will show you the routing that I finished with. Get this on real quick. Then I'll try to show you my adjustments, and then we'll follow it up with the wiring. So I'm not going to show you guys actually how to wire, but I'll show you where each wire goes to. It should be pretty much the same thing for S4s, C7s, A6s, Q5s even. It'll all be the same. All right, let's get that on there. All right, she's all set. Now I'm going to show you guys the routing, and then we'll go over the electrical real quick. All right, guys, now it's all done. Let's go over the wiring, and we'll go over the routing as well. So let's do the routing first, and then I'll walk you over to the EWD. So let's check this out. So there is my 600cc nozzle that goes there. I had it plumbed underneath here. It goes to my solenoid, which I don't know if you guys can see, it's kind of bright, but there it is. All right, mounted there. I have it ran to a Y back here, and then have it going through a check valve, which is right there, that black piece that you guys see. And then it goes to my 400 nozzle right there. All right, so these check valves are good for 35 psi in crank pressure. So I have my high side where it's going to be close to the boost pressure as possible. So that's why I have my check valve so close to that nozzle. All right, so that way I don't have any some air trapped and getting air through that nozzle, right? And then the pump itself, it acts as a check valve as well. So it runs through this T, it comes down through here. I don't need to have a check valve there really because I'm not having a lot of pressure here, so not too concerned with it on this end. I have my pump there. Again, it's all wired in. Excuse this. All this wiring is this is for my Maximizer 5 nitrous progressive switch. So I have my pump here, and then I have everything else done inside. And here's my fuse panel that I'm going to be running all my things to, all my electrical to. In addition to that check valve there, I did get a chance to put in my, see if I can't get my flashlight here. I did get a chance to get my other check valve in here like I said I was going to. I just didn't have it. So you see it right there. I have it plugged in there, and then it goes up. Now typically they say you're supposed to have the pump below here, but I'm not running it that way. That's why I have that check valve in, to try to help so I don't get air in that pump. All right, so that's pretty much it how I have this thing in. Keep in mind, you're not gonna see any of this. That's all going to be covered. So I'm going to have the piece that goes here, so you'll barely see this, and unless you're looking on top of it, you won't actually see this part either. So exactly how I wanted it. I didn't want to have it like all obnoxious and showing. I kind of like everything nice looking and stock looking. So let's go with the wiring. All right guys, here's the electrical part. Here's the diagram I'll show you guys. You see that? So this gives you the wiring for it. Red goes to power. I actually have it through my panel, my relay panel that I showed you guys. Obviously black goes to ground. I also put there should be a gray wire as well. I grounded my gray wire as well. There you go. Okay, so I have my pump power going to the white wire that goes to the controller, and I also have my green wire to that solenoid that's underneath that bracket. The other wire that goes to the solenoid, you just ground it just like you are with the pump. It's a pretty simple circuit, just power and ground. It's really easy. Also, yellow I did not use. I'm not too concerned with that, but if you need the kit does come with like a little LED that you can mount up, letting you know that it's live. Then I have the boost tube that's over there that I have not done yet because I'm getting ready to yank this engine out. The blue wires, for whatever reason, on our cars, I know a couple of guys that have tried to use it for a signal, and the injector pulse, they absolutely hate it. So I did not run it. I'm just solely going to be using my boost pressure as a signal for the controller to be able to engage the spray when I need it to. All right, I'll walk over and show you guys where all that wiring is, and then we'll wrap this thing up. All right, guys. So red wire I have to here, but you can run it to a switch. Really, you just need to have a controlled power. That's what this is for, okay? Also, let's change that so that way you guys can see better. All right, cool. I have the power down there for that. I also ran my grounds to here. Here's my powers. But here it is right there. Okay. It also comes with this power wire here. All right, so that goes there. Let's see. All my other wires are through that side. So let's go over there so I can show you guys where I went with it. All right, so here's my boost tube that I haven't put in, but it's gonna go, let's turn that off for you. It's gonna go here. All right, and I'm gonna put a boost tap right there. So that's gonna be super easy. And I ran my wires through this plug down here, down there. Okay, and here's all the wires. I also just cut my blue wires for the injectors because I don't need those. And then I grounded right there. All right, the black one and the gray one both got grounded right there. All right, so that's it. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or comments about this WMI, what I did, how I did it, please don't hesitate to drop me a message or have a question at the bottom of this. Please subscribe, like, comment anytime you want. I am going to be posting a bunch of videos coming out soon. I've got my header wraps, my test pipe wraps that I'm getting ready to do. I'm going to be the first person for a video on how to do this. Those are the 034 head studs. So that video is coming out really soon. I'm getting ready to do my nitrous setup. So I'm really starting to gather these things up. I don't know if you guys can see, the engine here is a little bit on standby. I'm still waiting for the 034 cams. So I do have this one that I'm putting in. I'm going to be doing WMI. I'll probably do some draggy pulls while I'm waiting for this one. Let's see if I can. There we go. This one can't be completed. So I'll have that one to drive around and dial some things in. So again, if you guys want, subscribe, like, and comment. And I'll stay tuned for the next ones. Oh, one more thing before I forget. My man Jim, if anybody's in Quebec, DNT Performance, my man was like a superhero when it came to WMI. Any question that I had, I reverted to him. He's super knowledgeable. He's done logs after logs after logs on WMI management. He's a really good, great guy. He has his own 034 shop as well over in Quebec. So if you are near that area, please go see him. And that's about it. I'll wrap this up and get back to the next video. All right, guys, take care.